And we're here with...
Kate Cormack.
Right. There is a strong student opinion on how the uniform is uncomfortable, outdated, or just plain. What is your reaction to that?
So we collected survey feedback last year about how people feel about the current uniform. So this year we've been going through a uniform refresh project to address some of those issues that have come up, like the comfort, wearability, the warmth, all those kind of issues. So we are currently working on it, and next year we'll be launching a new uniform, a refreshed uniform, not a brand new uniform.
Refined.
Yep.
What were the original goals when the current uniform was designed, and what do you think? Do you think this current uniform still meets those goals?
I couldn't tell you. I wasn't around when the current uniform was designed, so I can't tell you what the goals of that were.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. How much student input was put into the original uniform design, and do you think that student voice is still heard now? Do you think we share the same opinions of those students?
So again, I don't know when they originally designed the uniform you're wearing now, but last year student voice has really influenced the decisions we're making about uniform this year for the new uniform, the refreshed uniform, and we have had a number of fit sessions with students from across the college, getting a broad section of input to make sure that what we're designing is something we think students will wear and wear with pride.
Are you aware of the specific complaints like the fabric, cost, comfortability, and if so, what ones do you think are valid or not?
So we're aware of everything that we have spoken to students about and that students put into our uniform survey. So I know there's issues around the jackets. People weren't sure whether they were warm enough or keep you dry enough. The jerseys, they thought the fabric was uncomfortable. There's been question marks around the fit of the blouses for the girls particularly. There's all those kind of issues, and they're the issues that we're addressing this year through the uniform refresh.
How do you balance the school image and significance of how the school presents itself and the students' need for comfort and self-expression?
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to balance up at the moment. So there's been a strong call for a hoodie, and we are making decisions around whether we have a hoodie or not. We know students want it. We know they'll wear it to keep warm. Our balancing factor is that making sure we get a fabric that doesn't pill and doesn't fade, and we think we've got that now, so hopefully we'll be able to introduce a hoodie. So we want students to always look smart and to be clear that it's a PC uniform, but we know we need to get stuff that students actually want to wear for them to wear it, and that we look like we're from the same place together.
Do you think the current school uniform is practical for day-to-day life, especially in a New Zealand climate?
Good day to ask that question. I think a lot of it is, I think there's a lot of choice here about what people can wear, and we're certainly providing that flexibility next year about what people can wear. I know there's issues around the jacket in terms of does it keep you dry enough, so I would say that's something we will be addressing, making sure the jacket keeps you warm and dry. We know the students don't like wearing the jersey, so when it's cold, that's what we're trying to address as well. But people can choose to wear long sleeve shirts, shorts, pants, so there's a lot of flexibility what students can currently do, and we will be making sure there's even more flexibility next year. But it's still standard uniform pieces, but you can put the uniform together in different ways.
Is there flexibility in the policy, or is it too rigid? Do you think enforcement has gone too far in terms of how we've...
I don't think that, in terms of if you look around, there's a lot of fluidity about what people are actually wearing, and I think to keep it uniform, it's good to have items that are practical, comfortable and affordable, but are standard PC items. Yeah.
If you had full control to change the uniform, what changes would you make?
If I had full control, I would do what we're doing now, is take the student voice. What do they want, but it's also going to look smart? Yeah. So, for example, we are changing the fabric of the jersey, and we presented a range of knitwear options for them. There was a vest, there's a jersey, there's a cardigan, and a hoodie. So we're working on the hoodie. We're including the jersey because people want it, and we're including a vest because there was demand for it. So it's not about what I want, it's really about what do students want, what will look smart, and what will we think they'll wear with pride.
Sweet, thank you.
Okay, you're really welcome.
Thank you.
We're here with...
Mrs. Sellers.
Sweet. There's a strong student opinion on the uniform and how it's uncomfortable, outdated, or just plain bad. What is your reaction to that?
I mean, I think it's really valid. We are wanting to be really comfortable when we're learning, and some of the jackets can be a bit scratchy. But if we're looking on the other side, having a uniform approach and have everyone have that unity and school pride is also nice and important.
What were the original goals of the when the uniform was designed, if you know? And do you think there is more student voice needed now?
Ooh, I have only been here for 4 years, so I don't know what the original goal is, but for most schools, to have uniform is to be a collective, so it also makes it nice and equitable. Everyone's wearing the same thing, and you can also get like finance options, so it does take away a lot of like bullying and having to budget like money that some families may not have to get the newest, latest and latest things. But yeah, I think student voice is really important, especially as we're like modernising a lot of things. Learning is changing, computers are changing, and we're being a lot more like open with identity. So I definitely think like schools should be taking that into account.
Yeah. To your knowledge, you've only been here for 4 years, but how much student input was taken into account of when the uniform was made, and do you think that was an adequate amount?
Ooh. Not too sure on that one. Like, what, the school's been around since the 80s, 70s? Brent Adam would be a great one to ask about that one. But when we've done, like, uniform topics and reform discussions and stuff, Google Forms have been sent out, people have been asked just like this. But if it was to go any further, what the principal usually does when there's change coming through, emails are sent home to whānau. Google's, invites are sent for different meetings as well as forms to get as much voice. But student councils are always the first place to go for our reps.
Are you aware of any of the specific complaints, such as the cost, the fabric, the quality, and what of those complaints do you reckon are valid?
The cost, that is the one, especially as a dean, that I hear the most about, especially the jackets. It's quite unsustainable having to pay a significant amount for something that people grow out of quite quickly, or if they forget it, then they're kind of going to be cold for the day, and the ones that we have on loan don't always fit. So there has to be some ways around that, like the second-hand shop. Comfort-wise for the most, but we do have quite a variety. Like we've got short skirts, pants, and we've also got like the Samoan approaches as well, which is really cool, but the biggest complaint is the cost.
Do you think, especially taking into consideration New Zealand's climate, do you think the school uniform is practical for day-to-day life throughout the year?
I think it is good for day-to-day because we've got so many parts that you can mix and match depending. So if it's like summer, you've got the shorts and t-shirt, you can do the skirt and long shirt. So there is the mix and match variability, which we can do a lot with.
How do you balance the need for a consistent school image and the need for students' wants and comfortability?
That's a tricky one because it comes down to partnership. Like I think our school tries a lot and they're taking really good steps. Like we've got the uniform refresh that I've been discussed with the school board and the students, but I think schools are traditional, right? Like they're always going to want to have a uniform approach to things. So I don't see any radical changes coming in the next wee while unless there's a significant movement on both like the parents and teachers' sides.
Is there flexibility in the policy or is it too rigid? And do you think enforcement has been taken too far?
Ooh. I mean, we've got a dress code, like, we definitely follow it. There is a lot more attention given to, like, year 9s to 12s, because when they are in uniform, that is policed quite heavily, but year 13s, when you've got your non-regulation, they've still got a dress code, but I found that to be slightly more relaxed than the others, so I definitely think, like, if there's going to be high expectations, they need to be throughout, but not everyone has the same approaches, so it makes it a bit tricky when one teacher does one thing and one parent does another.
Yeah. Sweet. Thank you. That's just about it. That's all the questions.
Nice.
Yep, sweet.
Did you guys want
Okay, we're going, and we're here with
Matt Cowans.
There's been a strong student opinion on how the uniform is uncomfortable, outdated, or just plain bad. What is your thoughts on those opinions, and which ones do you think are valid?
Yeah, I think uniform always has its detractors. I had to wear school uniform when I was a student, and there were different options, and some of them were more comfortable than others. But I think we should always listen to student feedback and try to make good choices around what the uniform's going to be like. Some people complain about the jerseys, but my son really likes the jerseys, so it's personal. So you've got to try and find the best fit. But having options is good.
What were the original goals during the making of the uniform, and what ones do you think those goals still hold up to today?
So I guess any uniform you want students to look smart, to look consistent across classes, so you can tell that that's a student from our school. And we had a uniform refresh I think it was about 10 years ago, to look contemporary but not stuck to a particular time so that it doesn't get outdated too quickly. I think it's done an okay job there. I think it's all right. The quite funny one is skirt length was one of the discussions that came about, because the old school uniform had plaid skirts that tended to be worn very short, and so the new uniform had longer skirts and a requirement for knee length. I don't think that's been enforced because people don't like talking about skirt lengths for very sensible reasons. But that's sort of, I think it has, it's been made more contemporary.
How much input did the students originally have on the uniform's design, and do you think that was adequate amount of student input?
So we definitely did consult whānau, parents and students, but not. It's hard to get engagement sometimes. People to take time out of your day to go to a thing. It's quite tricky. So I think there could have been a bit more, but we definitely gave the opportunity. I think this time around they've done a really good job of having lunchtime chances for students to contribute, because you're way more likely if you're a student to show up if it's at lunchtime, and maybe even you get a free snack while you're there. Then that's going to be good. So last time I think that it was there. We're doing a better job this time.
Are you aware of specific complaints such as how uncomfortable it is or the quality of the fabric? And do you think those should be heard or are valid, or do you think there's a hierarchy of what ones are more valid than others?
Yeah, I think it's totally valid to complain about uniform. The one I've heard most often is the jackets. The jackets were compulsory for a while. They were quite expensive and not fully waterproof, so they're like rain resistant but not fully waterproof. So we had students who biked to school who wanted to have a properly waterproof jacket, and they would have preferred to spend a bit more to get a better quality jacket that was more waterproof. And at the other end, people want to be able to buy a cheap black jacket. They're not bad jackets, but that was the complaint I heard most.
Do you personally think the uniform is practical for everyday student life, especially under a New Zealand climate throughout the year?
Yeah, I think with the choice to have short sleeve shirts versus long sleeve shirts and long pants versus short pants, we don't force girls to wear skirts. They can wear shorts or trousers if they want to. I think it's reasonably practical. It's certainly better than the uniform I had when I was at school.
Yeah. How do you balance the need for consistent school image and the students' wants or needs?
Yeah, so I think there's one of the messages that we try to teach students in school, and it's not a popular message, is that you have to conform to rules sometimes. And I think it's actually really positive, because if you go to an airport, you can't do your own thing through customs. You have to follow the rules of customs. Otherwise, you don't get to go on the plane. So it's not popular, but I think you do. One of the functions of uniform is to teach people to dress as they need to for the school environment, which they may have to do if they have a uniform in a work environment later on. So yeah, I think it's okay. There's some flexibility there about which bits of uniform you choose to wear, and then you've got to just try to enforce it the best you can. I've never been big on noticing people's socks, but sometimes people don't wear the uniform socks. As a parent, I always make sure my son's got the right gear, but as a teacher, I don't always spot the non-uniform socks. If it's plain black socks as opposed to black with a blue stripe, I don't always notice.
Have we done that one? No. Is there flexibility in the school's uniform policy, and do you think it's been taken too far in previous enforcement?
There's a little bit of flexibility in terms of you can choose which bits of the uniform you wear, and it has been updated over time, so we do now allow the sort of navy blue or black kind of lava style long skirt. And going back to plain black jackets this year, I think it's been great as opposed to the school jacket. So there's a bit of flexibility there. I thought when they went to enforcing the black jacket over a plain black jacket, I wasn't a fan of that as a parent, because the jackets are not comfortable for everybody. But I, broadly speaking, think, uniform's all right, and if you're going to have it, you should do it right, do it as well as you can.
If you're controlled to fully change your uniform today, what changes would you make if you were to make any at all?
I would probably advocate for being a non-uniform school. Let students wear casual clothes all the time for sensory reasons and for personal choice reasons. I don't mind uniform, but it is probably a little bit more expensive than regular clothing, unless you're someone who's obsessed with wearing a different outfit every day, in which case that would get really expensive. But if you don't mind wearing the same clothes, I think the first couple of weeks people might go a bit outfit crazy, but after that it would settle down to people just wear their standard, regular, pretty standard clothes. So I would be very happy to be a non-uniform school. The uniform we have, I think, is fine. I don't mind it.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here with
Kale Redmond.
How do you feel about the current school uniform?
I think it's pretty good at the moment. I feel like that we should definitely add hoodies for the cold winter times.
Do you think the school uniform represents the values and identity of Paraparaumu College? If not, why?
I think it does.
How comfortable and practical is the school uniform for day-to-day school activities?
It's pretty comfortable and it's practical.
Do you believe students should have more flexibility or choice in what they wear to school?
I think it's pretty balanced.
Have you or anyone you know had any issues with the uniform policy?
Nope. No.
If you could redesign the Paraparaumu College uniform, what changes would you make and why?
I don't think it needs redesigning. I think it's perfect the way it is.
Sweet. Do you think the school uniform makes you feel like you belong to the school or students?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you.
Worries.
We're here with...
Mr. Ray.
There's a strong student opinion on the uniform and how it's uncomfortable, outdated, or just plain bad. What are your thoughts on those complaints?
It's probably one of the more comfortable uniforms I've actually seen, and as far as choice goes, I think there's a lot of choice in uniform there, but I think if students are feeling that way about the uniform, that they should probably be applying to their student committees and getting something done about it.
How much input do students actually have when the uniform was designed, and do you think that was a adequate amount of input?
That's a really good question, actually, and I'm not sure that a lot of input from students was given, but at the same time, generally speaking, these days we give students every chance to have their say about just about anything in the school, and if the committees are used well and the students actually go to the committees and say their piece, then they get their voice heard, and I think that's really important for students to be able to have that.
Are you aware of specific complaints like how uncomfortable it is, or the cost, or style? And what of those complaints do you think are valid?
Yeah, I think it should look cool, and if it needs updating to look cool, then maybe that's where we need to go. But like I said, I don't have I have some say in that, but I think students also should have a lot of say in that, and teachers as well. But if they think it needs an update, then we should go there and do that.
Do you personally think the uniform is practical for everyday school life, especially in terms of the New Zealand climate?
Really hard to say. Really hard to say because, well, we want to look formal or reasonably tidy in school, and I think if we all just wear active wear uniform, that we'll probably all look a bit silly, maybe look like we're on the Star Trek Enterprise, and I don't know if that's a great look either. So I think maybe a button shirt is probably to some degree a good idea. I actually think that we should possibly be a little bit more formal with having blazers, not just for sport. I think students should wear them full stop so that they've got a nice warm jacket, especially over through winter.
How do you balance the need for a consistent school image and the students' need for comfort and self-identity?
I don't know. Probably the most comfortable items of clothing I have are actually wool. I have a woolen suit, and it's from Barker's, and it's stylish and it's comfortable. So it might be the most formal wear I have, but it keeps me cool in the summer and it keeps me warm in the winter, so it actually does both. I'm not sure that students recognise that that's what our school uniform does as well. So yeah.
Is there flexibility in the policy, or is it too rigid? Do you think enforcement is sometimes taken too far?
I don't think the enforcement's taken too far because parents sign on behalf of their students when they come in, and when they sign on the dotted line, they're taking responsibility for that and saying that their student's going to wear this particular uniform for the duration of them being here at school. As far as flexibility goes, though, I really think that it does need to be reviewed every 3 to 5 years. Probably every 3 years would be best. And we have done that, so there have been a few reviews, and the uniform has changed, and there have been changes made. So I think there is flexibility there, but if there's not, and if people aren't comfortable with it, just like anything, it's a democracy in some sense of the word. Have a say, get to your committee, get in there.
If you had full control to change your uniform, what changes would you make and why?
Oh, that's such a great call. You know what? I don't want to make any changes. I'd like the students to be able to make the changes. I'd like them to go through the process and understand what it is to change something. When you're in a school of 1,400 kids, students, then it's not all about one person making or having a say. It's about giving everybody the opportunity to speak before we make a decision. And you know what? It just takes time. And maybe that sucks, but maybe it's also a good thing because everyone does actually get to have a say. So what do I think about the uniform? What's my opinion of it? It's not too bad. I've seen worse. I remember a brown and yellow uniform once upon a time and thinking that's just absolutely hideous. And I think our uniform potentially looks a wee bit smarter than the KC uniform. I like the shorts. I think they're quite cool, but a lot of students are choosing the trousers over winter, and they look pretty smart in those as well. And I think maybe, like England, that we should have proper uniform kit for PE. I think that'd be a lot more comfortable for people if they actually used it properly.
Sweet, thank you.
You're welcome.